Thanks for talking with me. What is your name and what do you do?
I'm Ryan DeMello. I am from Corvallis, Oregon originally, and I work for a company called Outlier Construction in Medford, Oregon as a project manager. So I help facilitate the entire construction process. I estimate for them, I help run the jobs, I help deal with the field coordination, do with a lot of client relations, and yeah, it's a fun job. We build things.
How did you get into the profession?
Yeah. So my biggest thing was I didn't always want to be behind a desk, but I also didn't want to be on my feet doing manual labor the entire day. So I ended up working for my dad, did some IT work, and then ended up getting in the construction business, which I just like to see a new thing every single day. Buildings excite me because every day it's different. You have new challenges, you have some of the same challenges, but you also get to see progress. And that's probably the most fun part about what we do is, you'll walk in the job site one day, you'll walk out there the next day, and it's a completely different project. So that's the most fun thing for me.
What was school like for you?
So I prioritized a lot of the mathematics, the physics classes, and then anything that had to do with business or management, accounting. Really all of those come into play, and they're really versatile with no matter what you do, but especially in the construction world. A lot of what we do has to do with numbers, whether you're in the field pulling a tape measure, or for my side, on the management side, it's managing the finances of a project and doing estimating. And so numbers are really important, but also the business aspect. And really one of my favorite courses was psychology, just because that comes into play with what we do so much. And everyone's different, but knowing how to talk to people and knowing really how to get your message across to people is a really important thing to learn too.
Can you describe your typical workday?
So a lot of what we do is planning. It's scheduling, it's getting ahead of issues. I will facilitate coordination meetings with subcontractors and with my superintendents in the field to hash out any issues we might have. We do a lot of coordination meetings to plan for future events on site. It's important to keep yourself organized. That's how you survive. You can get lost in the weeds really quickly, but I think the most important thing to remember is you may be the smartest person in the room, or you may be a smart person in general, but you may not always be the most knowledgeable person. So most of what I do isn't me spouting off all the knowledge that I know. It's leaning on those that I know have the resources and the tools to get us the answer that we need. For example, we've got a problem in the field. I'm going to lean on my superintendent to be able to come up with a creative solution, and we'll work together. We got to keep our head in a swivel, and that's a lot of what we do, but also knowing where your resources are and knowing how to utilize your resources is a lot of what we do.
How did you find your career?
Yeah, mine's a little atypical. So I started off in high school, got my diploma, went to Oregon State University for construction engineering management. Worked really hard, tried to get an internship freshman, sophomore year, but unfortunately most big companies don't like that young of candidates. So my junior year, I finally got an internship. I worked for Kiewit Bridge and Marine up in Seattle. That was an awesome experience. At the time, I had been traveling with another company I worked for, and I thought I wanted to work in a big city. Turns out I didn't want to do that exact path just because of how, let's call it linear, or kind of the ladder tier system that company worked with. So went back my senior year, I started looking for other companies, and like I said, I got that connection that brought me down here to Medford. But even my career here has been a little atypical. Most project engineers, which is essentially the project manager assistant, you help with a lot of the clerical work, RFIs, submittals. It's an entry-level position, so typically you're in that from 5 to 10 years. Well, funny enough, I was on a project. Our project manager had to take a hiatus because of something that happened, and I stepped up and I stepped into that role, took on 3 projects, and didn't look back from there. So I've been a project manager now for just shy of 4 years, and it's been a learning process, but I enjoy it every single day.
What kind of skills do you need to be successful in the work that you do?
Yeah, so you've got to be accountable. I mean, that's one of the most important things in life. Among many, I think the things that people they look for are a hard work ethic, or good work ethic, taking the initiative and being accountable. But what that means is admitting when you're wrong, admitting when you've made a mistake, but also when it comes time to there being a problem or something that doesn't go, let's say, perfectly, it's approaching it with a solution, not problem orientation. So everything has a solution. We're always going to be able to find a way to get through it. So when something does come up, you have to be able to approach it with that mindset and really, I mean, we're here to solve problems. That's what we do. There's a funny one, and I don't know if I should say this, but we always say there's no tears in construction. And the joke there is that, you know, really it's not that it's a completely calloused and emotionless trade. There's a lot of emotions that go around every single day. People have emotions, and that's dealing with people. But what we mean by that is you've got to be able to keep your head on your shoulders, even when someone might say something that irritates you, or someone might, you know, question you or question your intelligence. You have to sometimes not just bite your tongue, but also take the high road and just know that, you know, you're going to be able to proceed and excel as long as you don't give in to those immediate emotions.
What do you enjoy about the work that you do?
So this company in particular, I had struck gold. The people I work with are amazing. I love my coworkers. It's a really fun team to be a part of. I mean, two of my best friends work here with me as project managers. My bosses are really fun to be around. They really appreciate and treat everyone really well, really fairly. And so in general, the work environment here is really fun. Our superintendents and I have really good relationships, and really I think that kind of sums it up. It's the relationships. That's my favorite part, with the clients, with my subcontractors, with my superintendents, with my coworkers. I mean, I'll go places in town for events that are completely unrelated, and I'll run into a subcontractor and we'll strike up a conversation for 20 minutes. I mean, it's a blast how many relationships and how many, just how much networking you do when you work in this specific industry. Another mantra, I've got too many of them, but your network is your net worth. So it goes so far, building these relationships with your subcontractors and with your clients. And you know, I can't tell you how many times I've needed to call in a favor from a subcontractor, even though, you know, they have no business working on a Saturday for me, but you know, I need them to get in there so I can get another person in on Monday. And because of the relationship that we built, they'll show up and they'll get it done. You know, with my supers and with my PEs, it's building that foundational relationship of knowing that, you know, if there's something I can't get to or something that maybe I missed, they've got my back. So that's why they're so important.
Do you have any advice for students who are trying to find their way?
I'd say my biggest piece of advice is just, you know, work hard, put in the time, put in the effort. We can, you know, it's amazing to rest, it's amazing to take the time off, but you know, if you really want to do something, if you really want to work for it, you know, you got to put in the time, but also be open to new experiences. I think that's why I landed where I landed, was because I was open to try something new, a little bit out of the norm than what my friends decided to do when I was 18, and I couldn't be happier. You know, an opportunity is an opportunity, but for some people think that, you know, because it's a connection or because it's someone's dad knows somebody, that they have a leg up, and in all reality, that's what life's all about. You make connections, you network, you meet people. Maybe your parents know people, maybe your brother and sister know someone, but really, you have to take any opportunity with a clean slate and know that if a good thing presents itself, pursue it, go after it, because most people don't always get those opportunities, so it's a shame to waste them.
What are some of the career pathways in the profession?
Obviously, there's the tool belt and hammer portion, but you can be anything from an administrative assistant. You can work in the office. We have gals that are in accounts payable. We've got payroll downstairs. And then we have our project engineers, our project managers, myself, and then you know, our superintendents. And we also have foremen as well. And what those titles mean, I mean, really, as you work your way from the field out to the office, we're all, you know, working in tandem with each other. But I tend to say the people in the office obviously do a little bit less physical labor. It's more on the computer, more on the planning side, more on the, you know, making phone calls portion. So that's the side of it that I like, but there's a lot of those who like to get their hands dirty. It's a really fun industry to be a part of. That's, again, another reason that drew me to it was it's a lot of, you know, you work hard, but you also play hard in construction. It's a really fun industry to be a part of, a lot of really cool people. But we're always going to be building. I mean, no matter what, we're building, whether it's commercial, residential. Yes, there's lulls in the marketplace, but we're always going forward.
What do you love about your job?
you know, it's really neat to be able to step on a project site and it's just dirt. There's piles of dirt, there might be concrete chunks, and then you just know that 12 months later or 6 months later, there's gonna be a building and asphalt and concrete and landscaping. And so it's one of the most fun things for me is to be able to go through that process. And you know, now that I've done it enough, it's amazing because you get those milestones and you get a feel for, you know, seeing something that's on 2D prints come to life. You know, we had an architect that was just talking about that today, and in the courthouse, he was saying, you know, it's one of the coolest things in his career that now when he designs a job, he can see it, you know, three-dimensionally as he's designing it. And obviously I'm not quite there yet, but it's amazing to be able to step into a space when it's just, you know, it's on paper, it's a thought, it's not reality yet, and then to be able to step into it later and it's done. Not to mention it's really fun to drive by with my family and my wife in town and go, I built that. You know, as corny as it may sound, it's really helping the community. That's one of the coolest parts about it is any new building or any remodel that we turn out, it's really helping spruce up, and typically areas that, you know, could use a little bit of life breathed back into them. And it's also helping a lot of companies grow their business and grow their dream. And the other really rewarding part of it too is when you have a client that has, you know, they've just got an idea. And when they take that idea, you go through design, you bring in trade partners, the process takes months, and then you get into construction that takes another 6 months. But then when it's all said and done, you've taken someone's dream, you made it a reality. So that's one of the most rewarding parts for me.
What's next for you?
So for me, the next plan is just to continue to master my craft. I want to become a better manager, become a, you know, both philosophically, but also in terms of my performance and how I do what I do. I want to continue to just hone in on my craft and really become a better part of this company. The other thing too is I'm striving to be a better leader, and that's really been the big focus this last year. I'm helping facilitate some training processes for our new PEs that are fresh into the industry, and even those who are, you know, have experience but they're fresh into the company. It's important to have that process in line. So helping facilitate that and kind of the future of where Outlier's going, and then I guess longer term, my goal is to eventually be one of the owners of Outlier. So that's where we're at.
What kind of skills prepared you for this job?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily like a soft skill, but learning how to write an email is so important, but so lost. So that's a really small one, but just try to learn that. There's a lot of really good resources. ChatGTP, I'm just kidding. But learning how to write an email is a really big one. Just being able to speak professionally, and I know that's a really broad thing, but again, it's really all about respect. It's all about, you know, using manners, and then you know, the other thing too is you gotta have fun. No matter what you do, whether it's work, whether it's school, you gotta find a way to have fun, because what's the point if not? So I have a lot of fun doing what I do. The guys and I, we make each other laugh all the time. It's one of my favorite things about what I do. So that's just, you gotta have fun.
How would you describe your career journey?
Yeah. My career journey has been, you know, it's been a journey. It's been fun. I went from a 4-year degree at Oregon State University and immediately joined on with a construction company while I was still finishing my senior year of college. So it's been fast-paced. It's been a lot of learning. It's been like drinking from a fire hose, but it's been an absolute blast, and it's been extremely rewarding. I've progressed quickly in my career just because of the time I put in and the people that I've gotten to work with. So I'm very blessed.